Previously on D&D Kinda.
Hamilton and Topher. Gwent kind of leads you down the street, probably a few blocks, and he turns in between two buildings and like down an alleyway. He turns to you and says, "This is what the guild is. Members that come together in an attempt to understand why the other powers that be in the world, the gods, everything that they stood for, are somehow impacting the seals, but we do not understand it. But this is also what intrigues us about all of you. It is the first time in the history of Faerun that we can place 4 people that have direct implications coming together in the way you have. I would take you back to the Chamber of the Seals, where this all started." So the hallway comes to an end as you guys all filter in behind Scar, and you guys are in a massive open room. The floor is a red and orange sandstone with a massive open arena floor that is pure sand. There's one stair that rounds the entire edge of the arena, and along the edges of the top of the stairs are 9 inlets. Each one contains a table with various books and drawings and maps. So as you guys look around, you guys kind of see there is a glowing ceiling. And within it, there are balls of light that are just mystically floating around. Bartholonude, when you awake, you are laying in a field of flowers. You stand up and you catch your shadow. And in your shadow, you have wings. Benedict, you awaken in a room that you are very familiar with. And standing in front of you is someone you have not seen in years. It's Shanks. And then you feel a hand on your shoulder, and you turn around, and you do recognize this person, and it is the old man who helped you save the orphanage. Hamilton and Topher, you guys are lagging just a little bit behind Gwent as you guys are on your way to Francis's house. Topher, you are just rocketed across the field, and you slam into the wall and become unconscious. Hamilton, you are laying on the dirt, also unconscious, and burned into the ground underneath of you is the symbol of Cthulhu. Gwent is shaking you awake, Hamilton, and immediately you realize that you have been reinvigorated with your powers, but they're nothing like you have ever felt before, as you've never known what these powers were. They're not from your father. These are the powers of Cthulhu that you have flowing through your blood. Topher, you awaken. You're not quite sure what had happened. You hear footsteps behind you, and as you turn around, you see someone slip behind a building and into the darkness. Gwent gets up from looking at you, Hamilton, after realizing that you're quite all right. And turns around to see Topher getting up and seemingly focused on something in the distance.
Hamilton, Topher, are you both okay? What was that?
I don't know, but it didn't feel good.
We're
and
back.
I stand up.
We're back to the voice.
I actually don't remember what happened.
Shocker.
That wasn't even a character voice. That was just me saying that time. I just don't remember what happened.
Either way, shocker.
Hamilton, the ground beneath you, it looks to be some sort of symbol. Is that Cthulhu?
No. And then Hamilton kind of just like
Looks
shuffles
a
his
lot
feet
like
around in the ground,
Cthulhu.
just like,
Nothing here. Just regular old dirt.
Oh, yes, must be the wind.
There are foul winds.
I hate it.
I hate this so much.
This is good.
Can I make a pudding check real quick? Oh, that's a 3.
He's dead.
See, but now you have to roll straight up and down to see if he's playing dead or if he's actually
It's an 11.
All right, well,
He's definitely playing dead. Wait, was that a perception check?
who knows?
Do I,
It's been too long. We all
Do
forgot
I
how
get
to play
pudding
this game.
modifiers? Is this tapioca?
What the fuck is going on?
Okay. So you're just kind of like kicking the dirt around. Gwen's pretty obviously, he knows you're covering something up, but it really doesn't matter to him at this point in time. So he turns back around to Topher and he walks over to you and Topher, and he looks at you and he goes,
Topher, what was that? Or how did you get thrown?
I don't know. Whenever I knocked me unconscious there for a second. But I don't know, whenever I don't know what threw us, but whenever I looked up, I saw somebody running behind the building over there.
So just to go inside Topher's head here for a second.
Oh, do we have to?
Sad boy cries in corner.
There's just a dancing monkey in there. There's really nothing
You go
impressive.
inside of his head. It's just like, in my yard.
Get out of my head!
Get out of my yard.
Where are you?
You're not my dad.
Why are you in my
room? For the better part of, I don't know, a couple years now, since predating you meeting this party, there's been this nagging, conflicted feeling since you woke up about who you are. You don't know who you are. You have like this, you feel like you're holding this like dark secret and there's something pushing on you. There's been multiple instances where you've had these episodes where you're not exactly sure what's happened, and it's just created this feeling of unease, and there's this pressure in this, I guess the best way to say it would be almost like this darkness that you're carrying that you don't have access to. It comes out on its own. You just don't know what it is. And what you do know in this moment is you do not feel any of that. And you feel 100% non-conflicted. You feel more connected to Mishkal. You feel more connected to your godly powers and your faith than you ever have before. And there's literally nothing holding you back. And that feeling of being trapped and tangled and caged is gone. So with that in mind, obviously that all just what you're feeling, not necessarily, obviously you can feel however you want to, but that's how Topher, what's going on after this event took place.
Yeah. Okay.
So, just to clarify, I know that I have my powers back now.
Yeah, so I guess how that would go down. So obviously you have your powers back, but they are unlike anything you've ever felt before.
Yeah.
This is not, you've never known Cthulhu's power. You've thought you've known Cthulhu's power,
Right.
but it's been your father.
Yeah, Daryl.
Daryl. Yeah, Daryl. So, obviously Gwent is kind of confused because what just took place, it didn't affect him at all. I mean, he was just standing there walking with you guys. Well, not standing and walking. He was walking with you guys, and you just collapsed, and Topher went flying. So, he's a little concerned.
Oh, so he couldn't see any of it.
No, he saw you collapse, and he saw Topher fly. That fight did not take place in your guys' head. That was Bartholonude's vision. You guys were just in his vision. But immediately following what happened in Bartholonude's vision is when all that took place.
So, like, I'm aware that I have powers, and I'm also aware that they are different, yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Gwent saw, or wait, Topher, who saw somebody run behind the building?
I did.
Topher did, okay. Where is he in relation to me in relation to the building?
So the way that I had kind of pictured it is you guys were kind of leaving the business-y district of the town in Neverwinter near where the bar was. So you guys are walking out into that open field where Francis's house is like up on that kind of like plateau, up on a small hill. And you guys are walking that way. So you're probably like 30 feet away from the edge of the buildings. And you're walking just maybe 5-10 feet behind Gwent, who's leading you guys there. And this happens. Topher gets like rocketed 15 or 20 feet backwards towards the buildings. So when he wakes up, he sees someone slip in between the buildings back towards the city. Some shadowy figure.
I want to go look behind, like where that guy slipped, or whoever it was that slipped back towards the city, and see if I can see anybody back there. I know it's been a second, but
Are there like a lot of buildings over there, or is it just like one building?
Where he slipped behind?
Yeah.
It's like the edge of the city, so I was kind of imagining it as like multiple buildings. Kind of like how these are on the wall. So it's like multiple buildings beside each other, and he slips in between two of them into the shadows.
yeah, I wanted to go over and look and see if he's...
Now, I don't know if you would have seen that.
He would
But
have.
he told us, right?
I told Gwent, I'm assuming you heard it.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you saw him slip in between the buildings, that it probably logically... Now, you can do whatever you want to. Logically, it would have probably been 5 or 6 seconds maybe since he's been seen. So...
Well, yeah, I want to see if I walk over there, if he slipped behind that building, you know, if it's been a couple seconds, to see if there's somebody standing back there, or if I could see somebody running in the distance, or maybe he just rounded the next corner and I can't see him. But just to check.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because all this just happened to us, and maybe this guy knows, because we don't know what happened. So maybe somebody just cast a fucking spell on us and ran away like a pussy.
For the sake of fun shit, would those buildings be occupied by people?
I think it's reasonable to think that there may or may not be people in them.
Do you have
they be
any
like-
spells that you could
Can
like
they
cast
be like
on
under
Putin?
construction?
I want to award this creativity. So,
Okay,
honestly,
so-
it probably wouldn't be like too far fetched to say that these buildings are likely always under construction.
So let me just give you an idea of what I'm thinking Hamilton would probably want to do at this point. So I know that I have powers. I can tell that they're like hella stronger than they've ever been before. I want to try to just like Eldritch Blast one of these houses down.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you just take aim at. Which one?
Hold on. Topher, get down.
I'm not on anything. Oh, wait. I'm not on anything.
Yeah.
Like on the ground. Okay. And I lay down flat on my back.
You would. But yeah, I guess just the houses that are like closest to him, just kind of take aim and just let her rip, see what she's got.
Okay. So I guess make a attack roll.
So that's gonna be an 18.
The house's armor class is higher than that.
Yeah, typically just roll anything inanimate is usually just a straight up down, so it's like a 10.
Yeah.
So yes, this definitely hits it, and I would say that since this is the house, the entire side of it, like where it hits, there's just like a glowing hole, and it's just like in the side of this like kitchen looking area. There's a table. There's nobody in it, right where you hit the wall. But like the house starts to like catch on fire at that part, and just starts to slowly like creep up the walls, and you hear people like start to scream, and people are like jumping out windows and shit.
Oh, God.
And like,
Oh no.
yeah. So yeah,
Can we did this before in the forest, but with thaumaturgy and the flames, because I caused the flames to like recede. Can I do that here to like try to quell the fire?
yeah, that's
Like,
fine.
Yeah, I want to cast thaumaturgy on it
Okay.
and try to
Yep.
quell that.
Yeah,
and-
the flames like die down, but there's still this like smoldering hole in the wall in this house.
Okay, and then
So-
as the flames completely die, I turn around and smack Hamilton. What are you doing? You could have hurt somebody.
So when he hits me, I want to take that opportunity to cast Spider Climb on Topher. And jump into his backpack and tell him, "Let's go!"
So let me get this right. So we're like one of those little dolls now those little dolls that you fit inside of each other and you pop them out. So like
Russian nesting
Like a
doll?
babushka doll?
yeah, like a nesting
Yeah.
doll. Like so you're inside of my book bag, and then
Puddin's inside of my book bag.
So I'm gonna go climb on Gwent's back and see if I can get into his book bag.
But you have, oh, wait, no, you have spider climb. So you could just be weightless to him.
I could just no, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so he's
Actually, you could do it without even needing to use your hands.
I could just stand
You
on
could
his
just
back.
stand on his back with your feet.
Just put like both feet on like each butt cheek.
Just stand there.
Yeah.
Damn, is Gwent like stacked?
Hella thick at this point.
Oh,
Thick
shit.
as fuck, boy.
Yep.
It's all that scroll masturbation.
Scroll masturbation.
I hate this so much.
Knowledge goo.
Oh my god. Technically, that's what sperm
knowledge
is. Just
everywhere.
knowledge goo. DNA, motherfucker.
All right, so I guess let's
so
go
I
try to
have-
find this homeboy.
Yeah, I've got spider climbing. You're in my book bag.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining this, like, Gwent just sees, like, you both just, like, pass out, and then Topher just, like, explodes, and then you wake up, and you're just, like, blasting the wall, and you just jump in his backpack like fucking Mario, and you guys are just, like, running off back towards the town. He's standing there like, what the fuck is going on?
I don't want to run back into town. I want to see if we can see. But as of right now, he just blasted a hole in this wall. So even if there are people back there, they're probably freaked out and they fucking ran.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anybody that's still sticking around is probably a shady character.
Yeah, so
Hold on. I was going to tell Gwent what we're going to do, so he's not just like, what the fuck is going on? Like we were just...
Just send him back to the astral plane.
Now he's standing on my butt.
get Rex, scrub.
Gwent, I'm going to run down here and see if I can find this, or not find, but we're going to look for this guy that I saw, and see if we could see him real quick, if you want to follow us. And I start heading down that alleyway.
You mean to tell me that I just blasted like a 10-foot hole in this house and you're going to go through the alley?
Oh, yeah, because the guy went down the alley. He didn't go through the wall.
Wrecked.
Fair. All my hard work for nothing.
That's
Never
literally a
appreciate me.
story of your D&D career. Also, hard is a strong word.
Elder Splice.
That's what she said.
Topher, you walk over or run or jostle or whatever you do.
Swiftly, I'm not running. I'm swiftly moving to
at
try
him.
to.
He's like an 80s power walking. Swinging his hips.
He's got his pit vipers on.
pull out my
Puddin's got a little pair of pit vipers on too.
Hamilton.
I
Hand me,
hate this show more and more every word. Like,
Hamilton, could you hand me those pink 5-pound weights that are in my bag back there? And my sweatband.
I slide a sweatband down over his head.
And I walk like Patrick Mahomes. walking
Braid
off
his
the
hair
field.
long.
oh,
back
that's
there.
awful. No one likes the way Pat Mahomes walks. Nobody.
I'm sure Pat Mahomes likes the way Pat Mahomes.
I don't even think he does. I think that's the reason he lost.
He
the Super
walks
Bowl.
thinking, God, I hate this. God, I hate this.
This is terrible. It's so awful.
All right. So you get over kind of to the alleyway. You power walk your way over there, and you put your weights at your side, and you look down the alley, and you see people like gathering because there's like smoke coming from one of the houses, and there's people like running out of one. You can hear like screaming, and you hear some hustle and bustle on the other side of the buildings through the alley. But you don't see anyone immediately down the alley.
So, do I recall like what this person was wearing?
It honestly just looked like a shadow figure.
Black
Like-
dress with the tights underneath.
Black dress.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's incredible.
That's never mind.
So I don't see anything that looks like what I saw.
There's nobody in the alley. It's
Okay.
just dark, and on the other side you can see some like light, obviously, and then people, like I just said.
Well, if I go down, I want to go clear to the end to
Okay.
see if like around the corner or
Yeah. So you walk
Don't
all
forget,
the way.
bro, you got spider climb.
I know. We'll get to that.
You walk all the way down to the other side, and you see like probably about 7 or 8 people like standing in the street, and they all are centered around like these 2 people that are like panicked, obviously. So you just kind of assume that those are the 2 people that were in that house that just, exploded with flame spontaneously. And
Hamilton, keep your head down.
Back into the bag. Yeah, you don't see anyone running away. You don't see anything like that. You just see the people you can see.
So I didn't recognize, it just looked like a shadow.
Yeah, for as much as you saw, it literally looked like someone just ducking into the darkness.
Okay.
Like it could have just been a blip for like what you can remember. Like maybe you were seeing things.
Shit, there's blimps here?
Well,
Blimps.
Hamilton,
It says Goodyear on it. It's crazy.
Hamilton, I don't see what I think I saw whenever I first looked up, and I don't really think that searching through Neverwinter to find that is smart, considering we might not ever find it. So
You're right. We should get drunk.
maybe after a while. But we need to find your brother.
I can literally see how disappointed Jay is. It's just like overwhelming like rejection.
Yes, I guess we can find him.
No more bowls
So-
of gin for you.
I turn back around and go back down the alley, but I climb up onto the wall and scamper across the wall since I've got spider climb.
Okay, before
I'd
you
like
do
to
that-
imagine when you do that, you go,
I wanted to scare Gwent when we got back, so I want to be like up towards the roof, looking down on him. and
literally
just
as
jizz all over
soon
him.
as you turn around, that figure is standing right in your face.
Oh,
with
Jesus.
bleeding red eyes, and it disappears like that.
could I see that?
Let me think about the logistics of this here.
I've got some man wipes in my backpack. I need to clean myself up.
A good pudding seed. I would say no. Not
To
yet.
Puddin' or me?
No. I would say no.
And it
Pudding
just
can't see it.
disappears right in front of me.
Yeah, like long enough for you to realize what you saw was not, from what you could tell, your imagination. Like it confirmed it, and it went away. Just as
So what, other than the red eyes, what did it look like? Like, did it look human? Or
it
did
definitely looks human, and for
I-
all intents and purposes, it kind of looks like you.
Great.
Fuck.
And you said that I know from waking up after I was thrown that darkness that I've been struggling with inside of me has been gone.
Feels like it.
Okay, so I kind of like, I don't even know how to describe the way that
Existential.
well, no, like that, like where I just kind of lean back against the wall and not even like, I know he's in my book bag, but it's like, I'm just kind of like, and I lean back against the wall and kind of like slide down onto my butt in that alleyway. And, once I realized that Hamilton, you could probably jump out real quick after I'm already on my ass and slid down this brick wall.
You just hear
Puddin's just like,
Hamilton, I'm going to tell you something. But I want to tell you this before we get back to Gwent, because I don't know him too well. And I still don't know if we can fully trust him.
You've only known me for like 3 weeks longer than Gwent.
But you're the only one that I let in my book bag.
Ah, fair.
And I honestly think we met the day before we met Gwent. So really.
Gwent's not in our club.
So, do you remember... And you probably won't. I know it's only been a couple days. But it's you. Let's be real here. All the times that I was struggling with something inside of me where I felt like when we were under the...
Are you breaking the fourth wall right now?
No. I'm a construct of somebody who is also struggling with something deep inside of me. But whenever the angel and the demon statue and the nobleman, when we were underground, under the keep, and I was struggling with something dark and sinister, where I felt like I was being pulled towards something dark and evil. Do you remember?
I do. It was like 3 episodes ago.
This was like 30 episodes ago. But okay.
I missed a 0.
I don't feel that anymore. But what's strange is that when I turned around just now, what I think that I saw whenever I first got thrown a little bit ago, this shadow was standing in front of me with beating red eyes. And it kind of looked like me. But I don't feel that on the inside anymore. I don't feel that darkness inside, and it's almost like it's been ripped out of me.
That is very concerning.
I don't really know what to do. I guess we have bigger concerns than me right now. But I don't exactly want to confront this darkness any more than I already have on the inside.
As you guys are having this conversation, Gwent like starts to stroll down the alley because he could see you from the distance and see how distressed you look, and he kind of casually walks up and he's like, "Is everything okay?"
Gwent, goddammit, could you give us some space?
Oh, all right, man. Sorry.
All right, man, sorry. Everything's fine. It's really nothing. We need to continue on to Francis's. We can deal with this later. I didn't find what I was hoping that I was going to find coming back down here. We should honestly probably get out of here as quick as possible before somebody realizes that Hamilton was the one that blew a hole in this house. So we should probably move.
Someone from the distance like, "That was you?"
My leg!
It was the possum.
Damn possum.
Yeet. Let's throw pudding.
Stroking my staff again.
He's always doing that.
Okay, so you guys just start to follow Gwent back to the house?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys were honestly like pretty close to where Francis's was. You guys start to stroll back up the path, and within a matter of minutes, you guys are at Francis's front door. And it's just as you remember, it's a lowly looking, kind of humble place. The doorways are small. And as you get close, I know you guys were there to meet up with Benedict, but you don't see any sign of him. So Gwent kind of opens up the door and goes in anyway, because obviously that wasn't his plan. So he kind of just opens the door like he has a purpose for being there. And just as you remember, he goes to the kitchen, down the hallway, and into the bedroom where he sees, you guys don't see anyone. And you see him lift up the carpet that's on the floor, like you guys remember. Definitely remember, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's where we went down to the
Holy shit.
the like secret room.
The Chamber of Seals, Jed.
That one.
While he's like doing this, I'm watching out a window because one of my biggest concerns coming here and on the walk here, I was telling them that I didn't want to be followed because of these creatures that are posing as the noblemen and the guards and shit can shapeshift. I didn't want to be followed here to where they would know where the entrance. I know that you have to have the key to get into it, but I don't want them to know where the entrance is because that's just one step closer, because then they'll just need a key. So I just want to make sure that we weren't followed. Maybe I want to walk outside and kind of circle the house while he's doing this.
Okay. So you do this, and while Gwent's like getting this astral gate kind of prepped to open, as you guys remember, and he has his own key for it, and you walk outside. You don't see anything. Like, you walk around the house, everything seems normal.
I don't see Neverwinter. I don't see trees, grass, birds.
Well, I mean, you
the
see
sky,
Neverwinter.
the sun.
You don't see anything out of the ordinary.
Oh, okay. I thought
You're blind. Sorry.
Fuck.
Today we find out that glaucoma is contagious.
You don't see anything other than, you see the the grass. You see Neverwinter. You don't see anyone following you. You kind of peek over the hill to see if there's anyone hiding over the side of the little plateau that this house is up on. You don't see anybody.
I don't see any like stray, like just random animals that are running around close
You know
to
what?
the house.
Actually, give me a perception check.
Holy fuck! You guys don't think that Puddin is a shape-shifted monster, do you?
I really didn't want you to have that animal.
It's a 13.
Yeah, how with a 13? I don't think you see anything. So,
Nothing.
Yep. And now, Hamilton, did you walk outside with him, or did you stay inside with Gwent?
I'm actually, I'm in.
Oh, you're in his backpack still.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't really have a choice.
Okay. Well,
Okay. Yep.
What, you think I'm going to walk all the way back? No, I got back in your back.
okay, yeah, there's fine.
I'm fucking lazy, bro.
You can just assume from now on that anytime we like fast travel to somewhere else that I'm doing it in your backpack.
Okay, that's fine. My calves are fucking.
Just yoked. Looking like a fucking thoroughbred.
Go ahead and add a 4d12 kick attack to your repertoire.
Sea biscuit over here.
It's better than my fucking crossbow.
Toby Maguire's hiding in the bush. Like, come back. I hate this.
Okay, so if we don't see anything out of the ordinary, then I'll head back inside.
Okay. So by the time you get back to the room, Gwent's standing beside the doorway to the Astral Gate, which is like in the floor. So you guys recognize it all too well. And Gwent turns around and kind of walks down inside of it. And do you guys follow?
Is there a trash can in this room?
You're
How
in the
much
room.
trash does Puddin need? You stole trash from Bartholonude's. You got trash from the bar, and it's been like an hour.
That was a great answer. Is there any trash in this room? You're in this room.
I mean, it's if you want to look for.
He's a very sick animal.
I will stop and I will let you look for some rotten apples or some banana peels or something.
It's fine. Yeah, we're good then. I'm
Okay,
good.
yeah,
We'll
we
move
can
on.
head down then. That's fine.
I'll get some cheese from the store later. It's good. All right, let's go down the stairs.
Okay.
So Gwent leads the way, and you guys head down the staircase, which leads down into this kind of purple, ethereal kind of disc in the floor. And you guys are pretty familiar with this sensation. It is the Astral Gate, and you guys kind of peruse through it. And as you recall before, whenever you came down this way, it is dark, and it kind of opens up into this hallway with these lights that are on the wall, and it opens up into, as you guys continue down this hallway, into this room. Now, whenever you walk into this room, just like before, it is almost like an arena of some sorts, this sandy pit floor. And one thing you notice when you walk in here, it is absolutely crowded. There are tons of faces here that you guys recognize. When you look across the way, you see Francis. You see Chrysalix. You see Lokar. You see Thrak. You see Scar. Obviously, Gwent is there. And there are other faces that you don't recognize. You see, among those other faces you don't recognize, you see Benedict shaking off what appears to be a haze of some sort.
Wait, I don't recognize Benedict?
No, you recognize Benedict.
Oh, okay.
You see Benedict amongst
Fuck is that guy?
How hard did I fall?
amongst some other people you don't recognize. You also see standing there Bartholonude,
Oh God, it's
Standing-
a possumvention.
standing next to Vicewine. And again, you see some other dragonborn, some orcs, and some dwarves as well. And Benedict, as you come to, you recognize, we talked about before, Shanks from your past. You recognize another friend from your past. This old druid is there, who taught you how to be who you are. And you also recognize one other person, the last person you parted ways with, Vistrom.
So as we're walking into this room, I'm looking around at all these people here, and I see Chrysalix. And as I see him, I kind of like gaze over my shoulder and reach back and pat Hamilton on the head and be like, Stay calm, buddy. Stay calm.
As he loads his crossbow.
Now, I will say, when you see Chrysalix is, his legs still have like bandages on him. And from when last time you guys saw him, you shot him like 3 times.
It's only
And once
been
in the
like a few
knee.
days.
Yeah, like he's
some
still
more
pretty
bolts.
messed up.
Still
Like,
got some more left.
he's not looking so good, but he is there, and he is just kind of standing. And everyone's kind of quiet as you guys show up, and they're all just kind of like watching you all. And like I said, Bartholonude's there, and he's Fiswine is with him. But yeah, so you guys walk in here. All these people are there. Just a lot of people, and from throughout the last couple weeks of your guys' journey, since the very beginning all the way to the end, all these people are here. So, what do you guys do? Benedict, you're now awake and come to, and this is like your vision's finally clearing, and you're now seeing all these people too. People from the orphanage are here. You're wondering why. Your friends are all back in the same room. Like Lokar's still here. Like there's just a bunch of people. So what's everyone doing?
Bartholonude walks up to Topher and Hamilton and greets them.
Bartholonude, where did you go? We needed you back there at the keep.
I apologize for leaving, but I see you have made it safely. Looks like you're in good spirits.
Yeah, better than I have been in a long time.
And then I ask where Hamilton was, and he peeks his little head up. I needed to go on a soul-searching mission, and I am pleased to tell you that I have found what I was looking for.
So Bartholonude, you wake up at the precipice of this flower field where you look around and see these blue and orange flowers, and your mind is just teeming with these thoughts that you've had. There was just an epic battle between you and your newfound friends. There was intervention by gods. There was the death of your friends, some at your hands, some not. There was transformations that took place, and then there was this shadow of these wings that you felt like you had. You don't know. You saw. Where's your head at right now? What is Bartholonude thinking?
I would guess that he would be a bit cloudy from having consumed a substance that alters his consciousness. But what's the weather like when I wake up?
I would say it's later in the evening, but I'd say the sky is very clear, and the haziness that you're feeling is completely self-imposed. Like it's just very clear, very serene outside. You're away from the town, but you can see it in the distance, see the lights and the fires. But it's just very calm, slightly windy, a little bit of clouds in the sky, but just still clear enough to see the stars.
So I want to stand up and kind of stretch. And can I surmise how much time has passed since I took the substances? Like, do I know like if it's been a day, or has it been a week, or has it been 2 hours?
So you can tell it's been multiple hours, but it may have also been multiple days as well. You don't know whether or not. I wouldn't say you'd have a good way to gauge if it's been. Time has passed.
Other than keen mind, I have keen mind, which gives me a very accurate recollection of the past 3 months.
Okay. I don't know if that would work if you're like extremely intoxicated, because the way I'm kind of interpreting this, and we could definitely determine if we feel this. Not that it necessarily matters, but I think realistically it's only been a matter of hours. But I think Bartholonude in this moment would have his doubts whether or not it had been hours, or if he's really just been out for days and he can't tell. He would have no way of knowing exactly how long it's been. So I think, yes, it's only been a few hours, but Bartholonude has no good way to recollect that. And the reason I didn't want to let keen mind give you that answer is because this was such an immense spiritual experience for you that and again, you can determine this, but the way I'd kind of imagine this in my head is that Bartholonude felt the presence of something stronger here than just this drug, just this substance that caused this vision. I think, and I don't know if you would agree or not, I'd imagine that Bartholonude really felt like there was some type of international intervention by some type of force larger than himself.
Well, the reason I was asking about the perception of time is because I kind of agree with you that Bartholonude's body wouldn't have felt like it had been days. It would have felt like it had been, a few hours. But in Bartholonude's mind, it felt like it had been days, where his consciousness experienced more in the amount of time that would normally physically permit. And that's kind of where, and you talked about how there was a not international, but interventional, like some higher power, and the dilation of time is I think there's a lot of books written about that somewhere. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And to frame where Bartholonude's thoughts is he's basically taking a self-inventory. He put himself in this situation with the goal, with the desire of sparking a change. He has been at conflict with himself for years. He wants to do good, but his nature is always inclined to the opposite. Even though he wants to do good, he still thinks of ways that he could be petty, that he could be selfish, that he could take any situation that he's in and just act on his own accord and with no repercussions to any of his friends or family, which is exactly what he did at the Nobleman's Keep. He just up and left. So he's struggling internally with that balance between good and evil when the nature of both is within him. So his frame of mind as he wakes up is he's basically taking a self-inventory. He stands up, he looks out at the field, he gets a survivor's assessment of the current situation that he's in, and he looks around and he sees the open, clear, moonlight-filled air as birds fly by, and he's just basically taking self-inventory. He looks down at his gear, and does he see anything missing or notice anything awry with any of his belongings?
Everything is as it was when you were there. The only thing you see that's been disheveled is beside you on the ground is this bag where you had concocted this, I don't want to say potion, but this substance that you breathed in. It's just laying on the ground next to where the imprint of where you were. But again, there's also this shadow that you had seen cast in the moonlight of these wings. And you're still hazy, and you're still coming out of this with, from what seems like, you seem like you've got what you came for.
Mm-hmm. What about as he's assessing the situation that he's now in? I think that there's some haze to the memory that took place, and because of that, he's basically trying to recount his thoughts. So he looks around for any physical form of evidence. Like, for example, if he was asleep for a few hours in this field, you mentioned an imprint, like in the grass. Is there anything else around that he might be able to use to ascertain, how long he was there, or like the position that he was in after when he was asleep? Because that might help him understand, like, if he inhaled, if he went and did something, or he just passed out immediately.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Okay. I rolled a nat 20.
Hey, okay. So as Bartholonude looks around the field, initially he thought that what he was seeing was where he had been sprawled out in the grass. But as he looks further, it appears there's more. Not only does it look like there's been where you have laid down, but it also appears, it looks like something landed in the field. And as you start to back up to get a better view, even though it is dark, there's just enough moonlight being cast down, also the light from the city. You can see it. It looks like there's something right where you were laying has fallen and imprinted itself next to you, and it almost seems like a sheet
was laid over both sides of you, and the flowers in this area, the grass is pressed down and blown out of the way on both edges, almost something came down with such tremendous force and just landed on top of you where your body was laying.
So Bartholonude sees this, and he kind of kneels down in the middle of the position that he assumes is where he was sleeping, where he passed out, in the center of this imprint. And he kind of kneels down and takes his halberd and puts the tip into the ground and kind of holds the shaft of the halberd and leans on it in a way as he's leaning forward and kneeling. And he nods his head down and closes his eyes and just with all of his intention and with all of his might, he stretches his back and flexes the muscles in his back and just tries to flap wings that aren't there. Because he remembers this feeling of having wings in this vision. He sees the ground around him looks like wind had been blowing from wings that had been there before. He doesn't see anything in the immediate sky around him, so his first conclusion is that, maybe this was me. And maybe this soul searching, this trying to find some sort of vindication that his efforts have all been for a real reason. Because, something like that would be real. It's not just a transformation of his mind and his heart and his soul. It's more of a physical transformation of his body. And he wants to believe that. He wants that to be what validates his efforts. So he tries, he flexes, and he does whatever he could possibly think. He's never had wings. He's never had those muscles. So he doesn't know what that would feel like. But how his mind imagined that feeling is how he kind of moves his body in a way to try to articulate a limb that's not there. So he kind of does that, and for a few moments it like sends shivers down his spine, just like even the thought of it happening, and then him just flying the fuck away. But it doesn't happen, and he kind of comes back to his senses, and he looks around him, and he knows that his intentions were to come here to do this soul searching by taking this substance and implementing a change that he knew he himself couldn't. But his next objective was to go to the Golden Clan Elder and to meet Vaiswan and to let Vaiswan know of the events that have taken place at Neverwinter and to let Vaiswan know that shit's getting real. And all of these events, he just wants to make sure that he's informing his allies of what has transpired. And that way, if these events continue to grow in their frequency and in their severity, then at least him and his allies are informed and can be prepared to deal with whatever may happen. He starts to walk back to the Golden Clan village. He wants to see Vaiswan. And as he begins walking, he also wants to just check his satchel and make sure he has his gate on him. Because it was his original vision that when he wanted to return that he may be able to use the gate. Because he has it's called it's a cube of some kind. What's it? A planar cube. And the planar cube allows him to cast a level 8 gate spell, which allows him to gate to any dimension that he is familiar with. And my goal was to gate to the dimension where Francis's basement is, because I think that's a dimension. He doesn't really know, but that's the only thought. And if that didn't work, then he could just walk back and it would be a day or two.
Okay.
So he wants to, as he walks back to the Golden Clan village, he just wants to open his satchel, pull out the planar cube, and just make sure that that's in his inventory and that didn't get lost or anything. He'll speak with Vaiswan and then see what happens from there.
All right, so you start heading down out of the field and down towards the city, and it's kind of off the side of the hill that you're on, a little ways down, and you're far enough away that you can't hear any hubbub going on in the town. But what you can tell is, and again, it's been a long time since you've frequented where the Golden Clan city was, but as you get closer, you notice it is more well lit. As you become as you come even closer to the town, you can even hear music. you can hear celebration, and you know these are not things that happened often in the Golden Clan village unless it was for the entertainment of the Golden Clan Elder.
That's refreshing.
So last we had spoken to Viswan, Viswan had departed from the party because he was requested to take over the helm of the Golden Clan village. That is how Bartholonude remembered where Viswan was, because Viswan told him that before he departed. So as you're getting closer, I'm imagining what's running through Bartholonude's mind is... Actually, why don't you tell me, as you're getting closer and you're hearing these things, what do you
Bartholonude is immediately refreshed. Like, he remembers this place almost as if a curse or a plague on the surface of the planet. Like, it was ugly. It wasn't organized well. It wasn't very well lit. It almost looked despotic or evil. And the intentions of the leader, Bartholonude jumps immediately to it being it's like a reflection of how drastically a leader's influence can have on the quality of life of the people that they lead. Mm-hmm. Because these people, as he walks in, just the atmosphere alone, he hasn't talked to a single person, but he can tell, he can hear laughter, he can hear music, he can tell that the ambience of the entire scene is just brighter and full of more joy. And that brings him some reconciliation of the fact that he did fight against the Golden Clan Elder. And the result of that is this peace and happiness, and that brings him solace.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to ask you next, is because there's kind of there's two facets to this that I wanted to explore as Bartholonude's getting closer to the city and hearing this. One of those is, your time in this was spent primarily as I don't want to say a slave, because you had freedom, but in your hatchling years, you were experimented on, mm-hmm. you were poked, you were prodded, you were in cages, mm-hmm. and as you got older, you had no choice but to enlist and fight. And then what happened in the border forest, all of that, I can't imagine that there's any, even now, again, you're feeling more refreshed as you're getting closer, but I'm imagining there's a lot of negativity and a lot of things bearing down on Bartholonude, even going back here, even though he knows Viswan is here.
Yep.
So,
well, it's like PTSD in a sense. Mm-hmm. When a warrior leaves battle, if they come back to the battlefield, it doesn't matter how beautiful everything around them is. They're going to see it for as bad as it was when they experienced it.
Yeah, and I guess again, the other thing I wanted to reflect on with Bartholonude is, we've touched on it a little bit when you were talking about how Bartholonude was really getting in touch with this idea that even though he had a very a tough life, and then he grew up and he's now, even with what's going on, he's struggling with these, the morality of right and wrong and where these feelings kind of lead him. And I shouldn't say lead him, but leave you at the end of the day, because there was what happened with the Golden Clan Elder and the seal that ultimately was the anger that Bartholonude let take over him caused this blood to spill, and just something so small caused something just so catastrophic to take place. Mm-hmm. And now seeing that, even though, yes, it was such a bad thing that happened, no matter what happens because of it, there are now, what you're assuming, lives changed because of it. So even all the way deep down in that wrong, there was a little bit of right that came out of that. And how do you think Bartholonude balances that in his mind?
Well, I think Bartholonude's outlook right now is a lot healthier than it was 2 days ago. When Bartholonude experienced this trip, he was able to finally see the world, his dream world. He was able to see his dream world in a way where he was not his own self-critic. So he was free of the burden that comes with being self-aware. He was free of that external third-person perspective that we all put on ourselves when we are about to stand up for a presentation, or when we're about to, do something that would normally make us nervous. He was free of that. He was a pure and true self. And that has led him to kind of a new conclusion. New information brought him to a new decision. And the decision overall is that, yeah, he was unlucky. He was a black dragon snatched as an egg, experimented on throughout his life. The Golden Clan Elder was a representation of evil when he was of race of beings that were, naturally good. So he saw the worst where he should have expected the best. And he knows that's a big negative. So that would be a down. But then he also has Father Cayutha, where after he had passed that moment in his life, after he had left the worst parts behind him, he found the best. So there's balance there. And he sees this, it's almost like a puzzle that can balance on a seesaw. Like all the bits of his life that have led up to the current day, in combination with the events that have transpired over the past few weeks and meeting these people and becoming friends with them and getting to know them, he sees this beautiful symmetry in the world, in his experience of it. And he now believes that he can provide that balance to the world by taking action against these negative things that are haunting us, these gods that are trying to resurface and come back into the world and destroy the peace that has been a part of this era of prosperity for all of Faerun.
Gotcha. Yeah, when I think about Bartholonude's upbringing and what happens with Father Cayutha, especially that, and then you see something like this to where someone who was a friend to you, even throughout all the evil that you experienced growing up, and then found you later in life, and now these things that are happening that have these somewhat cosmic implications, and that they're intertwined deeply into not only just the head of what every Dragonborn truly believes, but also into all of what the good and morality of all of Faerun ultimately are coming together to defeat. And it seems like Bartholonude is becoming pivotal in that, and then you see these little glimpses of hope where something that you had done changes not only the people's lives in Bessague, but it also changed the people's lives in a city where they don't even know your name. They don't even know who you are. It's been years. And then, although there's been a trail of blood by your hands or not your hands, regardless, there is something going on that's pushing you to not only that decision that you just came to and the decision that Bartholonude over the last few days has found for himself, but it also seems like there's a higher calling that you're becoming more and more in tune to and destined to fulfill. And in that moment, even if it's not right there in your face for Bartholonude to grasp, the fact that he's taking these steps and making these decisions to, when he hears this quote-unquote calling, Bartholonude's taking advantage of it, but not because he hears something that says, you need to do this. It's because every step of the way, it's elevated him to the point where he has to examine what's right, what's wrong, where's the morality in that, and how does that help, and how can I redeem myself in that moment?
Yeah.
So it really ties the idea of self into the bigger picture, and it's just that whole one thread in the tapestry, and it changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot on Bartholonude's mind as he approaches the Golden Clan, and seeing and hearing these sounds and these atmosphere of joy come from this village. It's very affirming to him that despite all the darkness, at the end of the day, there's still some hope. And seeing these children play, seeing that innocence and bearing witness to that joy is what helps him affirm all of his. It helps him affirm that his self-scrutiny has bore some fruit.
So Bartholonude, as you continue down the hill and everything becomes more and more apparent, as we've already talked about, the what you're hearing and what you're seeing pretty in depth, you approach the gates, and they have always been closed, always, and they're open. Now there are guards, as you would expect. There are watchtowers with golden dragons watching, but they obviously saw you approaching, and they said nothing. They saw you carrying a massive halberd. They said nothing.
Bartholonude was conscious of the fact that there might be some resistance at the gate because this is a golden clan and he is a black dragon, and they have been at war for eons.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wouldn't say that Bartholonude's entered the town yet, but as you get closer, is there any hesitation, or do you attempt to just walk in?
I just walk in.
Okay. You're not met with any guards. The guards see you. They don't say anything to you. They walk in. However, when you stroll in, what you do see is you don't see just a bunch of golden dragons. You see all types of dragons. There are other, not very many, but there are various other races there. There are some elves and dwarves and, some tieflings. Just random. It's a city now. It appears to have turned into something of somewhat of a market where there's open commerce and open trade, which is completely unheard of within the dragon, especially the Golden Clan community within the last 50 to 60 years while there's been this reign of this Golden Clan Elder. So immediately you're seeing things are just different. Mm-hmm. You already heard it, but now you're just experiencing that it is open commerce, and which is especially strange because it's nighttime. And it's still just a thriving celebration, it seems like. You see in the distance, there's a roaring fire with people with all types of meats all around. There's people dancing near the fire. There's fountains. There's flagons of beer and ale all over the place, and people are drinking and celebrating. And that's what you hear is laughter and celebration. So, what do?
So I walk up near one of the guard towers and try to get one of their attention. My objective is to ask the guard to see where I can find Weisswein.
So, from where you're standing, and kind of like in this courtyard again with all these people celebrating, there's a lot of people around you. I would say, again, there's guards all over the place, but they're on duty, but they're still celebrating. They're talking. They're looking out. There are, like I said, there's a lot of merchants around you. They're selling various things. Like I said, there's people. No one seems to be paying for anything other than like at the merchant tables. The meat seems to be just like being given out. There's a lot of people that you can tell are poor that are there, and they're being freely given food. Who would you want to ask? One of the guards?
Yeah, I would find a nearby guard because they likely report to somebody who's under Weisswein, especially if he is still in charge of this place. And I could just go and ask somebody who is a part of that organization, and maybe they can refer me to, just to be able to get to where I need to go soon, because I know that the situation that I left my party in back in Neverwinter wasn't the most ideal situation. Just walk out and not tell them what I'm doing. So now that I've came here and done what I need to do, Bartholonude is really kind of more on a mission. He wants to, inform Weisswein of the events that are transpiring, and then begin the trek back to Neverwinter so he can reunite. And that's if the gate doesn't work, if his planner gate won't get him to where he needs to go.
Okay. So when you approach this guard, the guard sees you and he kind of looks away, he's not being vicious. He's just kind of does a double take, and then he really looks at you, and you see him like almost in awe. And as you get closer and he can tell your intention is to speak to him, he kind of shudders and he says,
"You're all of your kind. We thought you were wiped out. The black dragons, you walk among us. Are you here for the celebration?"
I am not. I am here for Weisswein. Can you point me in his direction?
The Golden Clan Elder himself, newly crowned. Surely do you know what's happening here, friend?
I do not, and that is not my interest. I would like to know where Weisswein is.
You can find the Golden Clan Elder at the head of the Spire. He's freely communicating with the townsfolk here. This is a celebration of life. We've opened town for all commerce. All dragons are welcome here. This is no longer the Golden Clan. It's open for everyone. And it is good to see you, one we have not seen in decades. You are very welcome here. This way. Follow me.
And he goes to take you.
Okay.
So again, as you're going on, I mean, it's just the whole town is just celebrating just nonstop. You have no idea how long this has been going on. It's just, it doesn't seem like it just started today. It seems like people are just continuing to pour in, they're going, and it's just a never ending celebration almost. So as he takes you through the town, you see this, you obviously you see some houses, and a lot of this is starting to look familiar with you, but a lot of what you experienced, you were very much in a militarized zone, and the Golden Clan Elder did not focus on the community or building that aspect of it up. It thrived on its own because it was a very, I don't want to say pretentious, but a very pretentious type community, to where it was very kind of like how you'd imagine an elven community. It was very tight-knit, but the Golden Clan community, as you know, is very militarized. And the Golden Clan Elder often operated out of tents because he was always on the move, taking new people, experimenting on them, and he wanted to be able to mobilize at any given moment. So seeing the town building itself up is very strange, because it's no longer just like a flat level of buildings or tents or anything. It's actually starting to build itself. So there's a lot of the bare bones buildings and things being just now starting to spring up out of the ground and be more of a brand new city. And as you get further into the town, it builds up as if more of a community focus, as opposed to I guess an imperialistic type structure, to where it's just one big building and everything around it sucks ass. So as he's leading you to this, is called the Spire, but it really is just a building that's sitting in the middle of a courtyard that's just a little bigger. And that's where in the distance you see a doorway with 2 guards in front of it. It's very well lit inside, but there's a lot of windows, and inside you can see that there's multiple individuals in there, and there's like a line out the door to go inside.
Okay.
So he takes you up to the front door, and he kind of tells everyone to move aside, and he takes you in, and at the top you see just a group of individuals sitting around at the base of this this chair. And then sitting in the chair, just kind of sitting at like the edge of it, leaned over, you see your friend Weisswein, and he's like leaned over very interestingly, talking to just a group of just ragtag individuals of all types, races, colors, everything. And you can see that he's very happy. He's very interested in what they're saying, and he's communicating very fluently with them. And the whole room is just like the rest of the town. It's just celebrating, and there's a lot of talk and commotion. So you are now in this room. He kind of leaves you to your devices, and he pats you on the back as he turns and says,
It is refreshing to see one of your kind.
And he turns and leaves.
Okay. How many people are in this room?
I'd probably say like in the 50 to 100 range. There's a lot of people, and there's probably 10 to 15 people flocked around Weisswein.
Okay. So is this something where it looks like I need to get in line, or is there some way for me to get Weisswein's attention?
I'll leave that up to you, but I would say that given the guard filtered you, because the line goes out the door, so the guard filtered you in, I think there's an expectation. You called him by his name. I think he knows that you are someone that can address Weisswein in person.
Okay.
And that definitely also clues you into the fact that they are willing. Things have changed. Like there is no repercussions for community. You know what I mean? Like they're willing to take you directly to Weisswein and let you speak to him. If that happened to the clan elder, they would have been beheaded. So you can tell, like, just by this guy's actions, that there's been some crazy changes going on here.
Good.
So.
Well, Bartholonude then is going to walk toward Weisswein, and I'm picturing the line just going right up to him, and then, a number of people around him engaging him in conversation. So Bartholonude is going to walk up to maybe 5 or 6 people back in the line, and he's going to kind of stand off to the side and just kind of like loiter there for a moment and just try to be respectful of Weisswein's time, because these people have waited a long time in line to get to him, and just to kind of let him notice that I'm there.
Okay. So I would say after just probably like 30 seconds, you're just kind of loitering there, and I'm imagining you're just kind of watching Weisswein Am I right? Like you're just kind of waiting.
Yeah, I'm not like sitting there peering at him, mad that he hasn't noticed me yet. But I am just loitering and trying to be respectful of his time.
Okay. So as he's talking, he does see you, and then he immediately diverts his attention, and then notice like he does that double take kind of thing again, to where he sees you, looks away, and then he realizes what he saw, and then looks back at you, and then you just see him spring up out of his chair.
And as soon as he springs up out of his chair, I start walking toward the nearest door. Not kidding.
Okay. So whenever...
And I kind of gesture to him, like as he sees me, I kind of nod, and then I walk away. Like I'm trying to draw him away from the crowd.
Okay. So he sees you do this, and he sees you walking away, and he kind of tucks back down into the crowd of people is there. And you're already walking towards the door, right?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'm not walking like steadfast. I'm not rushing away from him.
Right.
I'm kind of being lofty and taking my time, and also kind of looking back to make sure that he's really coming.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see him like putting up his hands, and he's like, doing the whole like I'll be back in 1 second kind of thing. I need a moment. And you see him kind of break away from that crowd. But as he does, he's like walking down the line, and he's telling everyone that, give him some time. He'll be back, and enjoy the festival, and he'll be here for, however long it's going to take. You can hear these little snippets of conversation he's having as he gets to you. And eventually he does break away and breaks it over to you. And immediately he starts showering you with, brotherly affection. Bartholonude, it's been so long. How are things? How are you? What are you doing? All these like typical questions from a friend you haven't seen in so long.
And I return with, the joy of seeing him, and I exclaim that it's nice to see you. It's been a long time, and he doesn't have as joyous of a demeanor as you might expect, as what is typical now in the town, as everyone is just kind of on cloud nine.
Right.
And that is why Bartholonude is acting the way that he is, because he saw this exact same behavior from the people of Neverwinter. And it was all brought about by evil. They were putting nice, shiny things in front of the people in order to gain their influence. And Bartholonude saw that when he left Neverwinter, and is seeing that now in the Golden Clan. So he wants to kind of draw Weisswein away to have a real conversation about how things changed so quickly. So, He probably recognizes Bartholonude's demeanor isn't, I'm not there to say hi. I'm here for some real shit. And I'm hoping that can ground him a little bit. And so as Weisswein approaches and he says those things, Bartholonude replies and gives him, hey, it is nice to see you, brother. I do not come for no reason. May we speak in private?
Of course, let's to my chambers. So they kind of duck out around the edges of the building and then circle back around to the back side of it. And there's 2 guards stationed at the rear of the building, which you can see kind of leads down underground a little bit. And he takes you in there. The guards don't say anything. You guys kind of filter down in there. And it's not what you'd expect. It's actually pretty humble little living quarters. There's just like a double bed down there, and a little washing face station where he can clean his face. There's a little bathroom type area down there, which for that time period is not the best, but it's not, most homes don't have them. Just enough for a leader to get by, essentially, is what it seems like. So he kind of takes you down, and he grabs a chair and kind of pulls it over for you, and he sits down on the edge of the bed and says, "What is it, brother? What is this urgent?"
So the first thing I want to do, and this is going to take me a second, but the first thing I want to do is I want to quiz him. I want to ask him a question to find common ground of a memory that we both share.
Okay.
So I'm basically wanting to validate that he's not one of these shapeshifters that we've seen before.
Okay.
So I set him down and I say, will you explain to me what happened decades ago in the border forest just outside the village?
What's going on here, Bartholonude? Like, why are you asking this? You know that you were attacked in the border forest. I explained to you that I was there in that time when you thought you were the only survivor. I saw the ferocity of this this creature that we didn't understand just mow through our troops. And it was just you. And I lay there on the battlefield, torn and battered and bruised, and you thought I was dead, rightfully so, but I survived. I saw you there. Is that what you want to know? What is it, Bartholonude? Is everything okay?
After hearing that, he takes his hand and he puts it on his shoulder and he says, "It is truly good to have a friend in these times. But where did you get all this prosperity? Where is all the free food that you're handing out to these people coming from? How have these buildings been built in such a short amount of time? Where is the wealth that is feeding this now city?"
Well, Bartholonude, that's a great question. When I returned, after being asked to be the Golden Clan elder to take over, this city was wrought with despair. As you know, you were raised here. But it was not poor by its own volition. Keeping a town run by fear meant depriving it of any and all necessity that it needed. We were locked in, we were taxed, we were held essentially at knife point to not speak, to not go outside the bounds of our own city. And why would we when we were provided with only enough to survive?
Then you have brought this place exactly what it is needed. That rests my concerns. Have you had any suspicions of you being monitored or eavesdropped on during conversations? Any external elements that just seemed suspicious or out of place to you over the past few weeks?
As the leader of the Golden Clan village, as you can see, we've worked hard over the past weeks to open our gates and to form new bonds and new routes of commerce and new treaties with other tribes, and just to open the door to allowing our people to explore the world as they know it. And in that amount of time, we have seen, even that short amount of time, we have seen our fair share of people we've had to excommunicate from town, even inside, and some people who'd say you could, perceive as spies, but nothing that I would say would have implications that you would need to know. It all seems like things that we should deal with as a town, as a community, because the implications are taking advantage of our wealth and what we have here. Nothing on the scale of what you would need to be concerned with, that I know of, but there have definitively been multiple individuals that have attempted to surmount what we have here.
Vicewan, I appreciate your honesty and letting me question you like this. It speaks volumes of you as a friend and a brother that you are fully transparent. I had to ask you these questions. I come today to bear bad news. Ball, are you familiar with him?
Yes, I am. More so than you know, my friend.
He is coming. We have seen shapeshifters take the place of many leaders of towns, providing an unknown source of prosperity for its people, to buy the mines, to make them see the gold coin in front of them and not the evil hand that deals it. I ask you these questions today to ascertain whether or not this town, this city, has been affected in the same way Neverwinter has. I just traveled from Neverwinter over the past few days. I left that city and it was in a festival of sorts. The nobleman was giving out feasts, giving out more than he could have possibly ascertained himself. Seeing that here, I don't want to question your success. You are a phenomenal leader, as demonstrated by the changes that have been made here. That this place is much more vibrant and peaceful than it has ever been. But I just wanted to make sure that you're aware, and that's the only reason I'm here. I can't stay long. I must get back to Neverwinter, because it seems as though the threads of fate are beginning to strum a chord, and the harmony of that chord will be heard throughout all of Faerun.
Well, my friend, it seems as if just as a chord can be different throughout the song, it appears as though the song we sing is one. I'm very aware of the plight that's taken place within Neverwinter. Francis made me very aware of it. I was leaving tonight to head back to Neverwinter myself. Are you aware of the Guild?
I have heard of such.
Bartholonude, I've been a member of the Guild for many years. Many, many nights ago, when Francis summoned you all to the Brandy's Main, she told you were bound in blood. I still have many questions of my own surrounding exactly what she knows, as cryptic as she may be. But I've never known Francis to withhold information to anyone's detriment. She gives information when it is needed to be given. I've known of your plight. How did you know? That's how I knew when to find you after you had escaped the Nobleman's keep that evening in the tower on the edge of the city. I was told where you were by Francis. I'm a member of the Guild, friends with Francis. I know of your plight with Lokar and Hamilton and Benedict and what they've went through. I know of Benedict's ties to Francis and him being their mother, and Topher's struggles. I don't know what exactly the implications are of that, but I know of them. There is something to all of this, Bartholonude, and I don't mean to... If this causes you to have some distrust in me, I understand, but the implications, like you said, are much larger. So, I repeat, as we may be two separate chords struck, we are two chords struck in the same song, and I hope that you can appreciate that.
You know, here's what Bartholonude's going to do. As he's having this conversation with Viswine, and Viswine tells him, you know, he's a part of the guild, that his intentions were to go back tonight. He's aware of what's happening and that everything needs to come together. So Bartholonude reaches into his satchel and pulls out this cubic gate and presses the side that's keyed to go to the dimension in Francis's portal room in the little, I think that was at one point in time, it was referred to as the gate room, or...
It was the Astral Gate that they used to get through there, but it's called the Chamber of the Seals.
Chamber of Seals, yes. That's what he keyed that side to, was the Chamber of the Seals. And he in the middle of this conversation, even after Viswan said he'll be there tonight, he pulls out this cubic gate and says, "I'm going now. Do you want to go with me?"
Now?
Now. And I cast plane shift using the cubic gate, and I open a portal to the room, to the Chamber of Seals.
Okay. So I would say in that moment when that chamber opens, it's open. They can see you, you can see them, and you guys can peer in, and you see Francis, you see Lokar, and you see Thrak standing there, and they all just immediately turn around and see you standing there with Viswine. Viswine is kind of taken aback, and he's not in his full armor. He's not in anything. So you can see his surprise, but then you also you see the cogs turning on his face. And he just reaches over and he grabs the dagger off of his table and puts it on his side. And then he puts his hand on your back and says, "It's good to be on the same page," and steps through the portal.